There are a lot of characters out there that we want to see made. We want to see it made in the Chug line. We want to see it made in the Masterpiece line. And I've got to say that Blitzwing is one that we've seen before, but we seem to want more. So we're going to get into this and talk about this character that did not trust the Quintessons. He's seen them before. And we're going to talk about Blitzwing today. And yes, we're going to talk about the Chug, we talked about the Masterpiece, and the G1, what's been made, what's going to be made, and, you know, what are we going to look forward to. You're watching the Titanium Hang, where we talk about all of the vintage to modern Star Wars, Transformers, video games, and other great things. So let's get right into talking about Blitzwing. So the first thing I want to talk about is the G1 figure. Now, I, again, did not have this figure. Like in the Astro Train video I made, I didn't have Astro Train back in the day. But I got this as an adult and I messed around with it. And I did have a stepbrother who had one, who I got to play with his once in a while. And it's a very simple figure, but as with most triple changers, some modes suffer the most. Some modes are a little bit better. I think the jet mode's the best, then the robot mode. The tank just doesn't do it justice. Now, unlike Astro Train, Blitzwing did not get a Classics deluxe size reiteration in the 2006 line. So we kind of had to go without a new Blitzwing until the Thrilling 30 in 2013. So in 2013 we did get the Voyager size version, which excited so many people because it's the first time we'd seen a new mold since the G1 mold. And the thing is, it was a bit off. It didn't look right in any mode, to tell you the truth. But we could tell from every mode what character it was trying to be based on the colors and what they look like. And I gotta say, the tank mode, in my opinion, was the weakest because the turret was, the way it assembled was just floppy. It never held together. It didn't work as a turret. And then the robot mode itself didn't look quite right. It almost looked like should have been a Constructicon. Now they recolored it for a Japanese release, but I don't think that it looked that much different. Of all of the Japanese releases, I gotta say, this one looks so much alike. I don't really see that it's that much different than the original, but they did recolor it for a double dealer. Now, double dealer doesn't work with this mold very well at all, but I think they just want to get as much use out of the mold as they can, and it's kind of a cool color. In fact, this mold, if you were to try to say, wait, this is the double dealer mold, you might do better. Although, I think it's a really interesting looking color design, and it's unique. I kind of like it in a way. Next, we saw the Titans Returns version, and I gotta say that when I realized they made the Titan Returns version, I sit there and look at my Thrilling 30, and I go, well, it's a big improvement, but it still misses the mark on so many levels. First of all, he wasn't a headmaster, but then again, this mold had to share the mold with Megatron. So for that reason, there was a lot of give and take, and I know they want to get as much out of the mold as they can, but I think that there were a lot of compromises that really compromised the character Blitzwing, because Megatron can't be a gun, so it needs to be a tank, and so it's almost the exact same figure repainted with a different Titan Returns head, which actually fixes the head problem because you can just plug a different head in. But then again, neither character looked exactly like they should look. But I have to say, I was kind of happy with the upgrade. I was kind of happy with the fact that we got a Blitzwing, so I guess I wasn't complaining so much at the time. Now, there was this animated version of Blitzwing that I just don't count, and we're not going to get into the Energon version and all of those other versions, but I think the animated version tried to capture the spirit of the character, so I figured I'd just throw it in there. just for fun. So I do want to mention that they did make a world's smallest Transformers Blitzwing, and the world's smallest Blitzwing is kind of cool. It's a little 2-inch figure that transforms the same as the G1, or really, really similar to the G1. And I guess I'll have to mention that one. And there he stacks up with the rest of his world's smallest Transformer figures. Now, I have yet to see a Legends Blitzwing, unless I'm just wrong and I just don't see it. So let's go ahead and get into the Masterpiece realm, because I'm sure that's where most people want to live, in the Masterpiece space. And DX9 Gewalt was a good figure. He was sturdy, solid, and the first Masterpiece version of Blitzwing. Now, this is one of my 3 original third-party figures. Now, I got this one, Apollyon, and Fans Toys Swoop Soar. And really, I had no tie to this character. I just had never seen a Blitzwing. I felt like Blitzwing was severely underrepresented in the modern day toy lines. So when they made one, I thought, you know, this would be pretty cool to jump on this. And this was back in a time where you didn't have 5 options of every character. At the time, this was the only one, and it was still to come. I pre-ordered it. And I have to say that when I got it, I was a little disappointed in the aesthetic. I was a little disappointed in the transformation of it, meaning that it wasn't fun enough for me to want to transform it ever again. But I never had trouble with stability with this guy. He stood strong, he stood tall, and he was big. He was a big boy. So next we ended up getting the KFC Ditka. And the DX9 Gewalt was the first, KFC Ditka is the second, and we're still waiting on the Fans Toys. But Ditka looks the part. Like, he really does hit up those aesthetics that we look for, and in each mode looks good. In fact, each mode looks more tuned and more accurate than Gewalt did, but he's a bit smaller, and he has some stability issues. So here we are with kind of a side-by-side, and this one looks very tuned versus the Gewalt. And I gotta say that I'm not gonna say Gewalt was a bad figure, and I'm not gonna say that KFC Ditka is a better figure, but I'm gonna say KFC Ditka looks more like the Tune than Gewalt does, but he has stability issues. So there's ways to fix his knees and his ankles, and I think my copy actually I got the fix with it, but I'm just kind of leaning mine up against the back wall, and it's not bothering me. And down the road I'll fix it if I feel like I need to. But as you can see from this, it looks good. You could see the smoother lines versus the extra line work on Gewalt. You can see how this matches the animation better versus the Gewalt. So you make the decision which one you think looks better. But of course, none of that's really going to matter once Fans Toys comes out. Now, this is a color mock-up, and it looks good. I think Blitzwing from Fans Toys is going to look amazing, and it's going to be stable. But I want to say that I'm a bit concerned because we're 3 years in the waiting since they've announced this guy, and yet we still can't pre-order this guy because he's so far out. Now, I have to admit, the Astro Train is a bigger hole. Ditka fills a hole okay. Gewalt fills a hole okay. Nothing, in my opinion, fills the Astro Train hole as well as the competitors for this guy. And it's really hard to judge the alt modes from the pictures, but the alt modes look more solid, as do they always with Fans Toys. Alt modes look good. It's the nightmare to get there. That's the problem. But in the end, I think this all around blows it away. Now, the holdup is probably because Fans Toys refuses to put out an inferior product. And yes, they've had minor QC issues with some of their figures. I wouldn't call any of their figures complete duds in any way, shape, or form. I would say that less than 5% of the figure is problematic on anything they've released. And they're wanting to keep that reputation up. I think if they put this thing out when they originally intended to, it would have been a severe flop, and we'd be dealing with the KFC Ditko stability issues or something even worse. Now, back in 2016, when they revealed this, they actually had a mold. They have this mold now. As you can see, it's being propped up. It's being held by like one of them doll holder things, but it's being propped up so it doesn't fall over. So evidently there's issues. It's not stable from the get-go. What else did they show that year? Well, they showed Cup. Cup's out, and Cup doesn't need a little holder to hold it in place. I've had my Cup for a while now, and they also showed Hoodlum, but Hoodlum's not a very good example because we just barely got Hoodlum, and it's been on display. But actually, they revealed Hoodlum around the same time as that guy, so they're Blitzwing. So that's a big holdup. Now, there's no doubt they nailed the sculpt. Fans Toys nails the sculpt, they nailed the build, they nailed everything, and that's why it's taking so long. I know there's a lot of people out there going, man, I really want this thing. FT21. What are we on to now? I think FT44 or something like that is on its way. So let me know what you think about this character. What do you think about the options that are available right now to buy? Do you have some Blitzwings? Are there some serious Blitzwing fans out there that have more Blitzwings than Optimus Primes? Are there people who buy every single version of Blitzwing that comes out? Because I gotta say, it's almost an obscure character that has very, very little screen time, but has an extremely high level of recognition. So I gotta say, this is a pretty good character. But anyway, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Leave me some comments down below. Tiberium Hanger out.